Good morning, you guys. Welcome back. I am on my way out to the goat yard to do morning milking. The kids and I have some errands to run today, but I just thought I would grab the camera and show you. The girls are yelling at me because they're hungry for their breakfast. Good morning, girls. Good morning, girls. Hi, Betty. You got a lot to say? You want to be milked? Yeah. Come on. Come on, Black Betty. Come on. So this is Betty. She is the only goat that I am milking right now. This is our first goat herd. Hopefully you can hear me over all the mowing. As you can see, I am sitting on the floor to milk. I ordered a milk stand online on Etsy. This is actually the second time that I have had a not so great experience with Etsy. I know lots of people really love it, so I keep trying, but I ordered it and it said it was supposed to arrive. This is what happens. She loses interest very quickly. It's okay, baby. So I ordered it online and it was supposed to arrive. It didn't arrive. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Baby. Guess that's all we're gonna get this morning. Not very much. What I was saying is I ordered a milk stand online and it was supposed to arrive. It didn't arrive. I messaged the creator. No, she's not having it. I messaged the creator and maker, whatever, and I got a big long sob story as to why it hadn't been sent. So I said, okay, can you still send it? And they said yes. And then once again, I am messaging saying, okay, great. When is my estimated delivery? And no response again. So I don't have a milk stand, which has made milking a real challenge. Okay. I can't get them to hold still. So I milk Betty for a matter of what feels like seconds, sometimes maybe a couple minutes, and then she loses interest. She was a kind of a kicker anyway. Come on, goaties. Come on, goaties. Whoa, jeez. Praline. Come on. I had Nate put this wall in for me because I was also having to wrangle 6 goats out of the barn so that I could milk Betty alone. And this is supposed to just be the temporary solution, but I actually really like it. I think it could work pretty well. Keeps the goats on that side, so this side stays moderately clean. Still need to set it up and everything, but I've got some good space in here to put a milk stand if I ever get one. Okay, so as I was trying to say is, long story short, I don't have a milk stand. I have to sit on the floor to milk Betty. I can't keep her still. I probably could find some way to put a collar on her and rig her to the wall. I just haven't gotten around to that. It's only been a couple weeks now that we've had these goats. And both Betty and Layla came in milk. Layla has her baby Scarlet with her, so I sort of gave up on Layla. I know that Scarlet is milking her, so I know that she won't get mastitis or anything like that. Should be able to peter off with Scarlet in a more natural way. But Betty, I've been needing to milk, and I've been needing to milk her twice a day, and it's quite the challenge without a milk stand. I just go as fast as I can. I did my best to show you guys in there, but I think having the kids in there and trying to talk to the camera at the same time was just extra distractions for her. So I maybe get like a cup of milk out of her each time on a good day. But it's all right. It's my first year. I'm giving myself a lot of grace because I'm learning, the goats are learning me, we're all kind of getting settled back in together, making our own little herd here. So next year, all 6 of these girls will be in milk, and then I'll be drowning in milk, I'm sure. So I look forward to that, but you know, it's one step at a time, as is the way with things at a farm. Nothing happens overnight. It takes time, it takes systems, it takes just a lot of consistency. So we're working on it. If nothing else, it's giving me a lot of good practice in working with a goat that's a little more difficult on the milking stand. I'm getting to know her. I'm getting to know my own abilities. Again, I've said this before, but I am so glad that I picked the Nigerian dwarf breed. I think in the future, maybe this morning I was sort of feeling like maybe I could do Nubians someday, just because they produce a lot more milk and it would be nice to not have to buy milk at the grocery store. That's like my whole thing, is just to be as self-sufficient as possible. And I just like being able to provide for myself and not be reliant on that system. So for now, it's cream in our coffee, and the kids made some instant chocolate pudding with the milk the other day, and that was really good. But right now we are just getting set up, and we're practicing, and we're learning, and we're getting into our own groove, and it's good. It's all good. It's okay that we're not getting a ton of milk. It's okay that milking is not going as planned. I will get a milk stand eventually. Hopefully this guy sends it out, and I'll have a nice, beautiful milking room all set up for next year when I am fully prepared to milk 6 goats. Good morning, Praline. Good morning, sweet girl. Hi. You are so pretty. Huh? You're such a pretty girl. Yeah. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. You're cutting the tree down? Oh, goodness. It's going to take you a long time to cut a tree down with a screwdriver. Don't you think? You're a very handy helper, though. We really need to go do groceries, but I want to get distracted by the garden for just a minute. Isn't it glorious?
Oh, we have some strawberries.
Yeah. So this is the in-ground bed. I've got my corn started over here, some cabbages and pumpkins. This is all tomatoes. My tomatoes is a mess, and I'll tell you about that in a second. I need to get some T-posts staked in here, and we usually do like a big long row of either chicken wire or some fencing to tie the tomatoes up to. And then this is all squash and melons in these rows. The sun is starting to come out in full force, which means that the lighting is not great and it's getting real hot. Yesterday we hit 91, and I think today we're supposed to hit 93, which I know for some of you in more southern climates are probably giggling at and saying, yeah, that's, you know, whatever, like sweater weather. But for up here in Maine, it is really hot. We are not made for this kind of weather. We're all basically melting and miserable. So we're doing the best we can to get out and do stuff in the morning and in the evening when it's a little bit cooler, but during the middle of the day, it's not happening. Trying to water this garden as best I can. We really need rain. We had a super dry summer last year, and that was a real struggle to get stuff growing well. And I can see that we're going to be in the same boat again this year.
Strawberry. That's a flat one.
Yep. But the garden looks glorious anyways. That was the in-ground. These are my 13, sorry, the lighting is horrible with the shadow off the house. These are my 13 beds, and then I also have some more sort of Ruth Stout method in the back there. But I'll just take you on a quick little tour. The strawberry bed has been producing like crazy. We never can really pick much out of it because we just come out here and eat it all the time. I used to have a real structured method of gardening where I wanted things to be perfect and perfectly aligned and in rows. And then I learned that things don't grow that way, that just because you put seeds in the ground that way does not mean that that's how they'll grow. So it's funny because in my life generally, I do like things to be very linear, But in the garden, I try to take a much more like carefree approach, and it's kind of fun to see that happen. I will also say my garden is a mess right now. This is like a real lesson in I'm just going to show you my mess, and I'm not going to worry about it because this is real life, and maybe your garden is a mess too, and maybe your house is a mess too, and it's all good. It's okay. So this is my crazy garden bed. I've got some Aunt Molly's ground cherries. I've got a couple eggplants, an echinacea, some sage, some Thai basil. These are tomatoes over here. This is all celery that I just grew because I'd never grown celery before, so I was curious. This is all stuff that's gone to seed. So this is some arugula, and this was, I think, a kind of spinach. So I'm letting this go to seed right now. I probably could pull out a couple more plants because I don't need this many seeds from this many flowers. That's going to make a lot of seeds. But I wanted to save some seeds because I'm running really low on most of my seeds. And then I've got peas going on these trellises, which are doing awesome. Same thing, we kind of just come out here and snack on them a lot. I do need to get out here and pick because we're getting quite a few.
I've never tried one of these peas.
The saying in Maine is getting peas by the 4th of July. The 4th of July is this coming Sunday, so I think I want it gardening. And I don't know if I get a medal or something, but I'll wait to see when that comes in the mail. This was all radishes, some of which we have pulled. I've got a lot more to pull. Some of them are going to seed. I've got a few random, talking and thinking at the same time is a lot of work. I've got a few kohlrabi. That's another Aunt Molly's ground cherry. I've got some rosemary back there with some eggplants. This is a sun gold cherry tomato. And this is a tomatillo, which again, I had never grown a tomatillo before. I don't know that I've ever really eaten a tomatillo before. I'm sure I have in something and not known it, but I didn't realize they got so big. So we're learning there. Uh-oh, what is that? All right, friends, we're gonna have to do some research on what those nasty little buggers are. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. This in-ground area is asparagus. Again, I sort of had patchy success with that, but this is the first year that I put these in. And then this is my potato bed, which is just looking glorious. That's gonna be a lot of work to dig up. That's a lot of potatoes, but we eat a lot of potatoes because we're Irish. This is a carrot bed, and I had been having a wicked time trying to get my carrot seeds to germinate. Oh yeah, this bug is all over me. This is what, hold this for a second, just hold it. This is what gardening is all about. That's disgusting. It's too sunny. Okay, go sit in the shade, bud. See the shade over there? If you're in the shade, it's not as sunny. Go with Sissy. I'd been having a heck of a time getting the seeds to germinate, so I've been trying to water it, but you can already see, well, no, it's pretty damp. I hate the M word. It's still pretty damp under the cardboard where it's exposed to sunlight. It dried out a lot. So I'm trying to keep this well watered to get these seeds to germinate. I've got some pak choi and an artichoke. Again, I'd never grown an artichoke before. I don't know that I've ever eaten an artichoke before. I also have ants all over my artichoke. Somebody help me. What do I do about that? Are ants bad for your artichoke? I would imagine. I don't know. This was another one of those, I just want to see how this grows experiments. A few eggplants there, more peas on the back of that trellis. Coming around this way. This was all, this is all Brussels sprouts. I thought that this was all broccoli, but I think that some of it is broccoli and some of it ended up being cabbages. My seedlings must have not been labeled correctly. And then more tomatoes. The funny story about these tomatoes is, if you recall back from an earlier vlog, I started my tomato seeds way too early, as I usually do, but this year they especially got like way out of control. And they were really, really tall and leggy, and the stems were just like pencil thin. And so as soon as I would take them out of the pot, and even though I was being so careful and trying to plant them deep and have them come up at an angle, I would get them all planted, and then that main branch, that main stem would just snap because it was so spindly. So the ones that I did end up getting in here looked awful. They shocked really, really bad because I did not, what's the word? Oh, I didn't harden them off properly. So I was sure that all of these tomatoes were gonna die. I think I lost a couple, but now they look nuts because I haven't done a thing to them. I just left them alone. Wyatt George. We're supposed to leave as soon as I'm done this vlog. And this is what little man does. What are you doing? You're all wet now. You are all wet. We're gonna have to go get you changed before we can go shopping. This is why everything with children takes literally 10 times longer. Literally. Anyway, as I was saying, I left these plants alone. I didn't prune them at all. I haven't done much weeding either, as you can see, and they are just going crazy. The suckers are like main branches now. They're just nuts. I'm starting to get some disease on them, so I clearly need to thin them out more so they get more airflow. This is one of those garden chores that I just need to get out here and do, but I'm a baby and it's really hot, so I haven't done it yet. One of these days, maybe. This bed, all in the middle here, is green beans. I planted them really, really close together. I'm hoping that by watering them and feeding them really well that I will be able to get a good green bean harvest. I tend to do that thing where you just plant enough to like get a handful, and my family really likes canned green beans. That's one of our favorite canned vegetable options. I wanted to grow enough to be able to do some canning with, and I also got all of these volunteer dill plants in here. They just started growing on their own. I think I had one dill plant in here last year. So I left them and I let them grow, and I have never grown such hardy looking dill. I've already harvested and dried some of it, but I'm pumped about that. I know lots of people really like their tomato sandwiches. I like cucumber and dill sandwiches. That is my jam. Some mayo, white bread. Also, not sure if you can see here, but that is some Japanese beetles arriving. So we also need to get out here and do some pest management because those buggers have eaten a lot of my plants over the years. These arched trellises on either side also have peas. I think I'm going to tear some of these out. This mostly is the spring blush tendril. The spring blush pea, I think that's all it's called, is a spring blush pea. And I really, really love that one. I love the flavor. I love that it gets so tall. These other varieties have never done as well for me. So they're kind of short and they don't put on a lot. But yeah, I'll probably tear these out and try to do some squash or something a little bit more majestic looking here. This echinacea is doing amazing. Wyatt and I came out here just a couple days ago and picked all the blooms off, and it's already covered in blooms again. So I need to come out here and do some more picking. This is all peppers, which I've always struggled with. I did get a few peppers off of these plants the other morning, and I cut one up. It was an Anaheim pepper. I was making some like hash brown potatoes, and I thought I would throw some peppers in there. And I looked up the Anaheim pepper online, and it said it was a mildly spicy pepper, and I thought I can handle that. I like spicy food. I like Mexican food. I like jalapenos. No, Mama ain't cut out for the spicy peppers. I took like a tiny little nibble and was immediately crying and chugging water and shoving bread in my mouth. This is some more tomatoes that I thought were gonna die that clearly are not gonna die. Some cucumbers in there. Awesome mint plant. Doing really well in a container. Although I struggled to keep my containers well watered. They tend to dry out really fast on me. This is all onions and some garlic. Again, peas on this side. This is a weed. This is what I mean. My lettuce looks like it's ready to bolt. Yep, sure is. So I probably should try and do something with these real quick. I got another dill that volunteered. And the rest of the theme of this garden is basically a lot of brassicas that just went straight to seed. This is my second year of really trying to grow brassicas, and I'm finding that when I start them in the spring, they just don't do well for me. It's nice and cool and perfect for them, and then all of a sudden it gets hot and they just bolt. So I would like to try to start some more to do in the fall. I think that would probably be a better transition for them. So the long story of that is that I need to get all these brassicas out of here because they're just taking up space in the garden, and they are shading out other things that are trying to grow, like those cucumbers on that trellis. All the brassicas on the other side are shading it out too much. So another one of the many garden chores that I need to get out here and do. But this is my real life hot mess jungle of a garden tour. So this again was lots of brassicas that just went to seed on me. These are technically a cabbage, but they're kind of like a kale. Those do really well for me all summer long. They're very, very hardy. These are some like amazing kohlrabi that I need to get out here and eat, because I don't know that I've ever eaten kohlrabi, maybe once. And I would really like to try these. I'm excited that I grew it. Even my succulent is like having it. In this bed is cabbages, some blue kohlrabi, tomatoes again on there, more of that, what is it called? Oh, I can't remember the name of that, but it's technically a cabbage, but it's like a kale. And then this bed is just going crazy with broccoli that has done nothing but put on lots of big leaves. Over here, some more peas. I think that these are cosmos that volunteered, which I really don't want to tear those out, but I do have, I believe, some squash in here that I'm trying to grow up this trellis, and poor squash can't get any sunlight. Also with the weeds, and I've got some onions. I decided to try putting onions along the perimeter to see if that would work. These squash look a lot better, so I need to start trellising these up a little bit. As you can see, isn't that so funny? They're grabbing onto the onion. It's so funny how nature has little fingers. In the back here, this was all a really wonderful, it's called Yellow Heart Winter Choy, and it was super delicious. But again, it just went to seed on me super fast. I need to pull out a few more plants because this is a lot of seeds. Like, all of these pods are going to be full of seeds, and I'm not going to need that many seeds. I've also got some onions in here. This is like an actual hot mess. Like, look at the weeds in my walkways. It looks like a jungle disaster, but I'm just being honest with you. This is some kale, some more kale. That was some lettuce, a lot of which has gone to seed. I did have some spinach in here, but I pulled that all out. And I've got cucamelons in here that have not sprouted for me yet. But again, it's so hot and dry. I have such a hard time keeping this garden watered. So I will water again tonight probably, hoping that by watering in the evenings, it doesn't evaporate so quickly and helps those seeds to get going, because what the heck. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. On this very honest look at my garden and some morning chores. I need to go get this little boy into some dry clothes, because we really do need to go do some groceries and run some errands and get some things for the goats and the chickens and whatnot. So I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for checking in. See you on the next one. Bye.
Daddy.
He even put his sneakers in the pool. Why, buddy?
It's them dirty.
Because them dirty. He's washing them. So nice.